I mean, look. Before we move on from Garnacho, a lot of the news, though, gents, is still stating that Chelsea are favourites to sign him. That's the news, the media. Fabrizio still stands on the 35% chance. The highest percentage chance he gives to any club is still Chelsea. I mean, he could do a job, couldn't he?
No, thanks.
I'm all right, thank you. I'll be honest with you. Listen, I don't think he's a bad player, right? I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think, as I keep hearing his word, he doesn't move.
Do you? You don't think?
I just don't think he's great. I don't think he's great. I don't personally think that he adds anything to Chelsea. If they didn't sign Sancho, I don't see why we're signing Garnacho. You know what I mean? Like they're pretty much the same kind of profile of a player right now and on the same kind of level for me. I mean, Sancho's obviously on a little bit more, but other than that, they're the same kind of profile. And so for me personally, that they both have the same kind of attitudes, right? Like for me, looking at Garnacho, I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think he adds anything to the Chelsea team that will change us into a more dynamic, more dangerous team up front. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like for me, I think he's a good player. I think send him to Aston Villa. I think they'll do wonders at that club. You know what? He'll do so well. Maybe Chelsea might even reconsider. But right now, let's send him to Aston Villa and leave him where he's at. Right? I think Garnacho to Chelsea is one of those stories where it's like I don't know if Chelsea are trying to do this thing where they keep trying to slip in news to kind of undercover do another move elsewhere. But Chelsea, I got some questions for Chelsea people who are doing these transfers. I feel like since our good lady had left the transfer place in Chelsea team, we've been doing some dodgy deals of late. But for me, Garnacho doesn't move the needle. He doesn't add anything to our striking force that we don't already have. I'm gonna leave it there.
Is that, before I go into it, is that the fear, though, that you have signed maybe some obscure players? You have, I mean, a lot of the, I know there's some contrary, Fabrizio has said you're not going to go back in for Maignan. There are some people closer to Chelsea, more isolated to Chelsea, saying that might not be the case. But is that your fear, though, that you have signed some players that you maybe wouldn't have expected? So there is sort of that lingering chance that Garnacho becomes a Chelsea player.
Yeah, I just I think with this situation, right? We've done some deals which I think have been so much this youth policy situation. We're playing FIFA in real life, and as much as I love FIFA, and which is now no longer FIFA anymore. When you, I said this when I said to you last time, Terry, as well, that I don't mind signing young players. I don't mind signing potentially good players, but we've got a bunch of good players at this moment. And it just seems like it's a carousel that we're using for profit to try and get these players sold on for PSR and all that kind of things, right? But for me personally, especially that left side where Garnacho is going to potentially play, right? You already have Madueke now trying to play left side. I said you can put Jackson at left side if you need to, right? You've already got Neto who potentially could play at left side, right? I feel like Garnacho doesn't even get to 2 or 3 in that list. So what would be the purpose of buying him? And then it just shows again, I think, our discernment when it comes to buying players. I'm seeing Liverpool and I'm seeing a seriousness. They've signed 2 players and I'm seeing seriousness when it comes to Liverpool. I'm seeing Chelsea and we're looking at a little bit like we're jokers. Like we've got too much money. And you know that friend that used to have too much money at school that give everybody money? That's how I feel like Chelsea are. And it's like, you're not wise and you're not responsible. So that's why I'm looking at the Garnacho thing. Like, I hope you guys are joking and playing around and trying to put that news out so that you can buy other people. I don't even like the Gittins deal. I don't even like the Gittins deal either. I think, again, it doesn't move the needle again. But, hey, that's my personal opinion on it.
As in, we've got. I don't like calling players shit. I think football fans are way too quick to just completely write off and just dismiss players. I don't think Garnacho's shit. I just don't think he's that great personally. I think the only, and this is me really, really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, the only positive that I can see in a Garnacho deal is he's a right-footed left winger, and our only one is Tyreek George. That's the only positive, and the only thing that could actually add to our squad, because the way our wingers play, they're out very wide 1v1, and they don't really get much support. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't invest as much as I do into the club. I don't spend the time I do watching Chelsea to see Garnacho on the touchline with, statistically, again, this is not my opinion, this is a statistic, with one of the worst dribble success rates in a system which wouldn't have given him a lot of support, plus not fantastic decision making. It just seems like a car crash waiting to happen. I'd rather put it on someone who suits us more. And I don't even mind if it's a gamble like Gittins. I think Gittins actually has quite a high upside. But with Garnacho, I just feel like there's too much stuff which doesn't suit what we need to warrant giving Manchester United potentially upwards of £50 million, which they would be absolutely desperate for at this time. So for me, Garnacho is a no. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's an okay player. He's got some good things, he's got some bad things, but for Chelsea, and I'm trying to stick with a top 3 next season of Liverpool, Arsenal, and City as well. So that doesn't help me achieve my goals personally.
You're a better man than me. I won't call players shit. You just described.
No, I think we do it too much. Everyone's either
so
great
bad.
or shit. Everyone's either great or shit with football fans.
He's so bad though.
He's average.
I think he's not great.
The only upside you could give him is he's right-footed. That was his only positive as a footballer to join Chelsea. Not his dribbling, because you said that.
No, and he's willing to take shots as well. He's greedy, so he takes a lot of shots. Like that's not bad.
Is that a positive?
I mean, it can be. If the others don't like taking shots, then someone has to. So
yeah, I'd rather the someone that's taking the shots score them. He doesn't necessarily score at this very high rate. So far, the advantages are he's greedy and he's right-footed. That to me isn't the sign of someone who's, a great player who these clubs should be desperate to get over the line with. The fact of the matter is, Garnacho has not developed the way he was expected to 2 years ago. That's fine. I can understand why no top club really wants to go near him for the price Manchester United are asking for, because you have to do a lot of work on a player who has an ego far beyond what his ability is. He believes he is better than he is. And players like that are very hard to work with. When we're talking about the options that Chelsea are going to have for the left wing, I still believe from the outside looking in that Chelsea are not buying for the short term. Chelsea are buying for players who will be good in 2 years' time. So they have this wonderful team that's been together for 3 years minimum altogether, grown up, and then they're all ready for a 3 years period where they can go win everything. Garnacho in 2 years' time will not be good enough, because I don't think Chelsea is the environment to get the problems in his game out. If anything, I think the lack of threat to his position at Chelsea would just amplify it, because Madueke, you got to bear in mind, as it stands, I don't know who else Chelsea might buy. There might be Garnacho and Bino Gittins, in which case a bit different. But as it stands, it's Garnacho on the left, and his other options, his competition is Madueke out of position or Pedro Neto out of position, or maybe we'll move, a left back up there, or maybe Jackson could be moved. He's got no direct threat, and even the ones that will be coming in, the youngsters, I've not necessarily seen. You might correct me if I'm wrong. There's no young left winger who you've got out on loan in Brazil, or you've got out on loan to Strasbourg. I know Esteval's coming, but he's off the right, so that's more of a threat to a Neto or a Madueke. So right now, if you brought in Garnacho, his competition would be players already playing in different positions. That's not going to help him have a desire to work hard, because if anything, his position feels secure. He feels safe in knowing that I'll probably play because I'm the only natural left winger that they've got. That's why I think that a player like a Bino Gittins or a player of that ilk, these players who might, they're at a similar level ability-wise, but I think they've got higher potential and a drive to figure that out at Chelsea, and a drive to do all the work to get that figured out. I think that's a more natural fit for Chelsea's plan than what Garnacho is. Garnacho needs to go and work under a manager who takes no shit. Whether that's an Emery, whether that's a whoever, someone who will be authoritarian to him and tell him, no, you're not Ronaldo. You are Garnacho. You cannot dribble very well. Your shooting is wayward and you shoot too much. And you are greedy to a fault. We need to fix those areas of your games to help you realize the potential that you had 2 years ago. If his next manager, I feel like saying this, if his next manager isn't someone who can work on that basis and has that level of mindset, Garnacho runs a real risk of throwing away the potential that he's got, because there is the potential there in him as a footballer. But right now, he has the mindset that he's beyond what he is, and he deserves more than what he's got, and he deserves to be more than where he would prospectively be. And I think that for a player of the quality and the potential that he had shown beforehand, that needs to be fixed. The feet needs to be put back on the ground.
I agree.
Listen, some really good points there. Viewers, give us your opinions.